Another one of the programs that I made was automation for drawing of the stringer for an elliptical staircase. So the stringer is this wood here that's on the side of the steps, because the shape changes with this. Because, all right, if you have a radius staircase, if it's a single radius, the stringer wouldn't change at all. The shape would stay the same. It would be easy. But the radii here, because it's constantly changing its radius, the radii in here is very tight, very small radius, and the radii out here is a very big radius. So because of this, this changes the shape of the stringer. And when we made the stringer, we created it with many wood laminations. This is over 40 laminations here just for one side of the stringer. So as these laminations go in, these are all different shapes because of the twist in the staircase here. I can show you an example. So because of this twist, those actually change shape. And believe it or not, it ends up looking like the stringers, if you take them out of 3D space and you just lay them flat, it looks like there's a belly in the shape of it. And yes, so basically how I accomplished that was figuring out how to do it was the hard part. And my dad and I sat down and we figured out how to do it graphically using our CAD program to draw out all of these laminations. The problem is, you can guess that it takes a long time to do that, especially for two staircases. Here's the first one and then the second one. So in order to draw all of those, it would be a lot of work. So I made a program. So basically just taking what we did graphically, converting it into math, and then making it a program. And I'm definitely more proud of coming up with how to solve the problem than I was the programming end of it. The programming end of it ended up not being too hard because it was the program we were using was called Mastercam, and it had Visual Basic scripting built in. So they had pretty easy commands for drawing things off of dimensions. And what I did is I just made an Excel file that calculated out all the dimensions for where the lines would be into a spreadsheet, and then I just imported that into a small script that I made that translated that to actual drawings. So that's how I accomplished that. If you need a little bit more convincing, if you need a little bit more convincing of how that works or why that shape changes, then I can show you right now. If not, that may be good enough and you could stop the video. So, if you are indeed curious why it is that the shape changes, consider this. So this would be an upper view of the staircase, much like, let's bring up one of these, much like this view. So upper view of the staircase, we picture this as an upper view of the staircase. These are the steps. So each of these steps, if you think about it, this all needs to be the same level, right? And this should be consistent all the way, even through the stringer. So this would be at the same height, this would be at the same height, this would be, anything on this line should be at the same height. So that being said, when you think about it, say this is 30 inches over here, and say this is 4 inches right here. And then say you take these lines for the stringer, and this is like 1 inch right here. So that being said, the shape of this outside most lamination is going to be different than the shape of this inside lamination. And if you picture it as, well, let's take this as extreme. So the bottom of the staircase, we'll say, I have no idea how big this is, to be honest, but we'll just say that this is 16 inches or so. So each of these steps is going to be the same height increase because it would just feel weird if it was different. So say each of these is 7 inches. So from the beginning of this step to this step would be 7 inches, 7 inches, 7 inches, all the way up. So that means for this to jump from 7 inches, this short distance to all of a sudden jump to 7 inches, and then this larger distance jumping up to 7 inches with more time, that ends up creating its own shape. So, say we have this is 7 inches, and then we'll take this example, 16 inches to go 7 inches. So if this is 7 and this is 7, wow, that's wildly uneven. So if you got 16 inches, we'll say this is 16 inches, and then we'll say this is like 4 inches or so. If you take 16 inches to climb 7 inches, that's a certain steepness, and then if you take 4 inches to climb 6 inches, that's, wildly different. So this ends up making a shape, and even in just one section of the stringer, if you see the outermost lamination has 4 and then the innermost has 1, this is constantly changing shape as you create more and more laminations to put along these stairs.